Go for it.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Wednesday. It's 1 p.m. on the eastern seaboard of the United States. You know what time it is? You know what day it is? It's Hump Day. And with it's Hump Day, you know the main man, the man of the hour, the man of crypto power himself, the Baron of Bitcoin, the Czar of crypto, the Sultan of Silver, the Gandalf of Gold himself, the Pathfinder of the Road to Ruda, none other than Bix Weir. Bix, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I am just dandy.
Good.
I'm wondering where our world is headed when the NFL starts kneeling during the national anthem.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I love it. It's people are burning their season passes, which they spend tens of thousands of dollars on in some cases. People are burning their $400, $500 leather team jackets. People are just up and on. People can't. Direct TV, man. Direct TV offering refunds for NFL season ticket, the season pass that they offer, offering refunds. It's amazing, man. The NFL is on the verge of being irrelevant. And let's be honest, it's not even the same game anymore. It's getting watered down. I think the ultimate goal is to have a transgendered NFL with transgender cheerleaders, where nobody's tackling head on anymore. No more smash mouth football. And what it really is, Bix, is just a hugging contest of who can hug the longest.
Well, what they're really kneeling to is they're kneeling to the god George Soros. I think
Oh, that's
Soros is behind all this shit, and the idea is to destroy nationalism, destroy everything that we hold as our own for everyone's country. And there was a study out that if they let a billion Africans into Europe, it would increase the economy.
oh yeah,
Really,
that's
it's crazy. But
yeah. I mean, dude, I mean, you bring a billion people that have no job skills, can't speak the language, and have an IQ average of a 70, and that's definitely going to increase your GDP. That makes sense to me, Vix.
well, just before we leave the football thing, they're all saying, "Well, we have the right to express ourselves. It's our freedom of speech." Blah blah blah. It is not freedom of speech in according to NFL rules. There are so many rules in the NFL that you cannot support, things that is not agreed to by the NFL. You can't wear, the guys wore 9/11 cleats, got fined. All
Yep.
these fines have gone out. Let me read you the actual NFL rule from their rule book, page A62 to A63 about the national anthem. And this is word for word. The national anthem must be played prior to every NFL game, and all players must be on the sideline for the national anthem. During the national anthem, players on the field and bench area should stand in attention, face the flag, hold helmets in their left hand, and refrain from talking. The home team should ensure that the American flag is in good condition. It should be pointed out to players and coaches that we continue to be judged by the public in this area of respect for the flag and our country. Failure to be on the field by the start of the national anthem may result in discipline such as fines, suspensions, and or forfeiture of draft choices for violations of the above, including first offenses. They are breaking that rule.
Yep.
They are breaking their own rule from their own rule book. all to stand on bended knee to George Soros's uh, definition of what America should be. No nationalism, nothing. They want to destroy our culture and our country, and they want to destroy our country by destroying our culture, and that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, man, absolutely correct, brother. Absolutely correct. And the whole entire thing is this. They're doing this to think that they can destroy our culture. And the foolishness of them is that they always underestimate the powerful driver that is human culture, and how powerful of a driver that is, that they just simply cannot go ahead and destroy that. That eventually all this is going to come back and bite them in the ass. I mean, NFL to date, bro, has lost over $200 million. Just this quarter alone with all the shenanigans they're doing.
And it should. It should. I mean, okay, if they want the freedom of speech, I have the freedom to turn off the NFL. I have the freedom to burn their jerseys. I have the freedom to do whatever I want to. And people are doing that. People are saying this has gone way too far. This is complete bullshit. And it gets back to Kaepernick. Kaepernick, the San Francisco quarterback that knelt originally, the only reason he knelt is his girlfriend was Antifa and was a high, ranking Antifa member, and he wanted to get laid. So he made this grand gesture, and then now no chief will take him, and
now he's got no job.
He had no, he got interviewed on why he was doing it, and he said, "Oh, it's because the police are killing all my brothers." And
you're half black, you moron.
And the odd thing is that that's all he ever said about it. He has no stance or position on this, and all these guys who are kneeling have no clue what they're doing. They're just being led along like sheeple. If they kneel Thursday night game or don't show up on the field, or whatever they plan on doing Thursday and into next weekend, they're going to see huge drops in ratings. And then these rich football players will no longer be rich. I think it might be a good thing that we're going through this so we can destroy these people who are the icons of our mixed up society. It puts people sporting activities well and above over all these other things that we should highlight in humanity. I'm not against sports. I love them. Do I think they deserve billions of dollars when people are starving in the streets? No,
absolutely not. And there's no way. Why should taxpayers spend their money, our hard-earned money, on building out these stupid stadiums?
Well, that's the other thing. Like all these cities and counties and local governments are paying for these stadiums for these people because the NFL convinces them that building a new stadium and having a franchise team is going to grow the economics of your area. Well, I was involved in the Oakland Raiders' new stadium back in the 90s when they came back from LA, and Oakland lost over $200 million on that. Now they'll never build another stadium or even offer it to the team. So the Raiders have left, and they're going to where are they going? To Vegas.
Yep, they're going to Vegas. The Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, it doesn't even sound right, man.
Yeah, you're gonna see the NFL pull a 360 almost immediately on this because they know this could destroy them economically. They'll turn into the Canadian Football League after a little while.
That's exactly what's going to happen. I think it's time for Vince McMahon to bring back the XFL.
Yeah, there you go. That's fun.
Yeah, real smash mouth football, man. Absolutely. That's what people want. They don't want this watered down liberal social experiment that passes for a game. And at the end of the day is this, man. I'm a firm believer in what Ernest Hemingway has said in regards to sports. And Ernest Hemingway has said this, that real sports is bullfighting, mountaineering, and race car driving. Everything else is just games.
Well, that's pretty much true. You don't risk your life in football. Well, you might a little bit, but
or basketball. I mean, look at the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man TT, the most dangerous motorcycle race on the planet. So exhilarating to watch. It's killed over like 40 some odd riders already. It is vicious, man. I mean, look at the 24 hours of Le Mans. Look at the 24 hours of Nürburgring. Some of the most vicious racing. I mean, that stuff will kill you. Exactly. You're putting life at risk. Bullfighting. Have you seen a man getting gored in the anus? It's not a pretty sight, Bix.
I don't know what videos you're watching, but I've actually been to a bullfight in when I was in Spain.
Yeah.
And it's not good. Well, this bullfight, it's like they were stabbing the bull, guys on horses stabbing the bull to weaken the bull before the bullfighter came out. I go, where's the fair fight there?
Right. Exactly.
So,
right.
But I think it'll be interesting when the current fan base of football, NFL football, is people who stand for the flag for the most part. Now, if those people leave the following football, will those snowflakes pick up the slack and start paying out money to go to football games? I don't think so.
I don't think so because the snowflakes are broke. They like money.
But they like when the players kneel to George Soros.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole thing also is this, man. It's like the snowflakes is this, man. The only time the snowflakes are going to attend a football game if it's $10 and there's discount coupons available on the Penny Saver.
And
They're
and when
broke.
that happens, you can't charge, you can't pay football players $10 million a season. It's just
Nope.
done.
Nope.
I think NFL is gonna, the money will turn them so fast, and the players, and all the NFL says, hey, we're gonna lose everything. You're gonna lose all this money you're getting, and you're gonna be out of a job. What are you gonna do? And they'll immediately start standing and saluting the flag.
Oh man, totally, bro. Totally. They will be totally standing up and saluting the flag at that point. But at that point, it's already too late. I mean, they showed their colors. I mean, what in the world is the Cowboys with Jerry Jones kneeling? That took the. I thought he wasn't going to kneel, and all of a sudden he did.
He didn't want to be called, politically incorrect.
Oh, God forbid. God forbid. I mean, Jones is known as the a-hole of the NFL, and I figured that the last thing he'd be worried about is somebody calling him politically incorrect or anything like that. It's ridiculous, man.
It's ridiculous, exactly.
Unreal, unreal, man, unreal. So, what do you think is going to be the eventual end to this whole entire nonsense?
I
Has
think,
the NFL put on burn notice? Have they been put on burn notice, Bix?
yeah, the hashtag burn, what is it? The hashtag NFL burn notice is a Twitter account that has people around the country burning their jerseys in their backyard and saying, I am so sick of this. I'm not going to support this team anymore. So yeah, it's I think in the end it'll go away because the NFL has to have it go away, or the NFL will go away. And these guys don't have much prospects for other jobs. Their hope was to play 10 years of professional football and make enough money so that they never have to work again.
Right, absolutely. Moving on, we have the hurricane ravaged. Looks like a nuclear bomb went off over there, man.
That's unbelievable. In Puerto Rico, yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's the deal, man?
Well, remember, Puerto Rico is already in bankruptcy. They owe $72 billion in outstanding debt in the bankruptcy. How are they going to pay a restructure? They can't. They have 3.5 million people who live in Puerto Rico. Most of them are going to have to move. Most of them didn't have insurance. I heard it was 50% of the homes had insurance, but of those 50% of homes, only 50% of those had wind insurance, and less than 1% had flood insurance.
Oh, they're screwed.
So basically, they have just wiped out an entire island of people and infrastructure, and they're estimating 40 to 50 billion in damages. But I mean, it's one of those things. Will they even rebuild? Will they all just move to mainland? Because I think they can. I think they can. They're free to live in whatever state they want, I believe. I'm not sure about that, but a lot of people are trying to get out of there because we've hit a point. I mean, they have no electricity, they have no power, and it's been a couple of days now. So it's the critical stage, and there's really not much that can be done. If you dump 40 or 50 billion that Janet Yellen creates out of thin air onto Puerto Rico, what are you going to do with it? It's going to take months, if not years, to rebuild.
It's going to take months and months to rebuild. And I think there's a chance here that a lot of enterprising entrepreneurs can move into Puerto Rico, especially the fact that if you are a U.S. citizen,
but nobody's got any money to spend there. It's. I mean, and then you got the problem with the banks, and the outstanding debt. Whoever owns the debt of Puerto Rico, good luck getting that. That's $72 billion that's going to be sucked out of the pension funds and the whoever owns that debt. The banks. Are the banks strong enough to withstand this? Are the pension funds strong enough to withstand losing $72 billion? I don't think so.
Yeah. It's and also the other funny thing is this, man. The U.S. government, along with the IRS, along with the ATF, along with everything else governmental, they're all corporations that have been incorporated in the island of Puerto Rico. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of dirty stuff going on there as well. It might have been a weather warfare tactic to aim this one of the largest hurricanes ever right at Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
But Trump alluded to something saying, we're going to help the people of Puerto Rico, and we're going to have to deal with their Wall Street problem.
Oh yeah.
But if you bail out Wall Street from the Puerto Rican $72 billion in debt, that's not going to go over well.
No.
So I don't know what Trump has planned or Mnuchin has planned on this one, but I'm sure it's something that's going to be completely out of the public's eye.
I think it is. I think it is going to be something that's completely out of the public's eye, man. I think the whole island is a disaster. I mean, can we even afford to do this, Bix? Considering we're still digging out from Harvey, we're still recovering from Irma. Like what is going on?
We can afford it. I mean, yeah, we can afford anything. We print money out of thin air. So, yes, anything is affordable, as Greenspan said. When you print the money, I mean, there's no limit to how much they can print. That's why Trump wants to get rid of the debt ceiling limits. If you print the money, yeah, you can afford anything. The question is, what will that money be worth after you start printing, 100 billion here, 100 billion there? And so far, because they have computers and derivatives that control all commodities and all markets, it hasn't been a problem. It's one of those things where you can print as much money as you want as long as you control all the things that are kind of anti-money printing, such as the price of gold and the price of silver and the price of oil and the price of food. And as long as you can rig the markets with your computers and derivatives, that Steve Mnuchin was the expert at Goldman, yes, you can print as much money as you want. But in the long run, will it save the country or destroy it? It will destroy it. There is no plan. I tell this to people all the time. There is no plan to pay off debt ever. First of all, it's mathematically impossible to pay off the debt that the United States has. But the plan never was to pay off the debt. The plan was to run it as long and as hard as possible, soaking up all the benefits of fiat money. And then when you've blown up the system so high and there's so much debt out there that pieces and parts start falling off, which we're seeing now, that's when you pull the plug and say, all right, we're going to go to a new monetary system.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. There's serious problems, man. And speaking of problems, JPMorgan, another fine, bro. What is that all about?
Jamie Dimon is the biggest bastard ever, and his crypto remarks were ridiculous. Nobody in the crypto space really even listened to him. But JPMorgan Chase was fined $4 billion in damages for mishandling the estate of a former American Airlines executive. One single guy, JPMorgan, was the executor of this guy's will. They defrauded him over a matter of years out of, I think it was $700,000 $4.7 million of actual damage, and $5 million in attorney's fees, and $4 billion in punitive damages. So basically, they take this guy's estate, they're named the executor, and they cheat and steal and take and rip this guy's family off of $4.7 million, and they think they can get away with it because that's what they do. They get away with everything, and they figured they'd pay, a couple $1 million fee to get out of it, like they usually do. They strike up a bargain. This one went to court, went to trial, they lost, and they were awarded $4 billion in punitive damages. That's awesome. These guys are such criminals.
Man.
And every time Maria Bartiromo comes on TV and supports Jamie Dimon and JPMorgan, I get sick to my stomach. She's buddy with Jamie, and anytime anybody calls JPMorgan a fraud company, she's Jamie Dimon. No, they've never done anything wrong. The laundry list of their crimes is just, it's so long and incredible that I can't even believe. It's hard to believe that this company is allowed to operate.
Well, they're as pure as the wind-driven snow. They're such a wonderful company. They're such frauds, man. It's okay. So they're $4 billion. So right now, effectively, they're officially over $40 billion. I think about $42 billion right now in fines. $42 billion in fines, bro.
And their market cap is what, 330 billion?
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
I mean, it's a cost of doing business. It's a line item under their expenses. We're going to commit all these crimes against humanity because we're given a license to do whatever we want, create money out of thin air, and oh, by the way, we're going to have people suing us all the time. So we'll just pay the fees and the fines, and we'll settle everything out of court, and that'll be an expense portion of our budget, and that's exactly what is going on.
That's exactly what is going on, man. And the whole entire thing is this. The recent beatdown, what they did with Bitcoin. You and I talked about it last time, where they're like, Jamie Dimon's out there saying, it's a scam, and I'll fire any trader buying Bitcoin, and proof comes out that old Jamie boy has been buying Bitcoin, man.
Well, JPMorgan is one of the larger players in the investment banking side for funding blockchain startups. They are knee deep in Bitcoin. He lied his ass off when he said, but it's like those other guys who say, "Oh, Bitcoin's a scam, but blockchain's the greatest thing ever." Like Chris Dwayne says that all the time. I love blockchain, but I hate Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Well, why do you love blockchain? Because it injects truth and honesty into any system you apply it to. What other thing besides money is more important to have truth and honesty in? They don't like Bitcoin because they didn't invest in it. They didn't invent it. They didn't tell their subscribers to get into it. And now it's either they, bite the bullet and say this until Bitcoin goes to $1 million per coin within the next 10 years. And then, they're so far out of it that, they have 2 subscribers to their site, but they'll still be saying, oh, it's gold and silver only. It's just crazy. I mean, the amount of money and capital and people involved in the Bitcoin infrastructure is just growing exponentially.
Yeah.
And it is not slowing down. It is increasing at an ever larger amount. And people are getting used to the volatility. And nobody I know have sold on the latest down slam. It's already back up. And if you want to get rich, if you want to make any money, if you want to preserve your capital, you better get yourself a Coinbase account or some account and get your hands on some of the cryptocurrencies. I tell people to shy away from Bitcoin only because of the issues of buying Bitcoin now. We don't know what the real Bitcoin is. Will it be BTC? Will it be Bitcoin Cash? And when the banks go down, Bitcoin Cash will be a hell of a lot more valuable than BTC. Mm-hmm. Because you can use it. Although it might not even be alive though. So why not just invest in something like Litecoin, which is cheaper and faster, and that's exactly what Charlie Lee is doing at Litecoin. He's building out the infrastructure so that we can use it as a means of exchange when the banks go.
Right. Exactly correct. Exactly correct.
And he did it. He's working on this thing called an atomic swap.
Yep. Why don't you detail for our clients, man? I mean, for the people that are listening,
I can't explain it. The only thing I know is that it allows you to pay in one cryptocurrency, no matter what cryptocurrency the seller is wanting. So you can pay in Litecoin, and the seller would receive Bitcoin.
Right. Exactly.
So it's like a smart contract behind the transaction. It happens really fast, apparently.
Yep. And what makes it so revolutionary, bro, it gets rid of the exchanges. You don't got to go to a stupid exchange anymore. And number 2, they're coming out with peer-to-peer decentralized exchanges. So we don't have to go into the exchange ghettos anymore.
Right. The exchanges, their business model is, it's for a fractional reserve system for the most part, unless it's an on-chain exchange. Like EtherDelta is, when you buy on EtherDelta, it's actually an Ethereum blockchain event that gets recorded on the blockchain. When you buy on most of the other exchanges like Coinbase or Poloniex or Kraken, those are pools of cryptos and pools of cash that basically rehypothecate everything. And they work off, I think I heard it was 70 to 80% of the cryptos are there, and then the other 30% is what they trade back and forth, so they collect fees on it. So if any of them shut down, they're going to have to go out. They basically shut down and say, oh, you can't withdraw your crypto. You have to withdraw in cash type of thing, which is what was going on in the Chinese exchanges in December when they got shut down. Well, they delay it and hope that people just sell it and move on to some, get their cash out instead of the exchange having to go buy it and give them back the crypto.
Yeah. Interesting. Let me ask you this, man. Speaking of cryptos, let's talk about that crypto recovery overall.
Oh yeah, if you look at the tokens are just starting to move. Bitcoin made it, went down from, I think it shot up to close to 5,000 and then got smacked down to 3,000, just below 3,000. Now it's back up to over 4,000. But the big money traders / manipulators were expecting it to go to like 1,800 is when they wanted to buy in, and it didn't even come close to that. So it's very good news for the understanding that these waterfall events, when the manipulators try to come out and they'll spread some news, they'll run their algos, they'll crash the markets, but they recover so fast because people are now seeing them and saying, oh my God, it's so volatile. This is a great buying point right now. I was crying when I didn't want to buy at 5,000, but at 3,000, I'll buy Bitcoin all day. And then it'll go up to 6,000 or 7,000 next, and it'll get slammed back down to 4,000 or 5,000. And that's kind of the way it goes. And that has been the way it's been since day one. Obviously, in the beginning, the big slams were, there was a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, because you didn't have these businesses growing up around it. There was no regulation. It was crazy to be involved in Bitcoin in the early days. So you'd have a slam down of 90%, and then it would just muddle around for years and then start going up again. But now the slam downs are lasting, right now it's weeks or months, and pretty soon it'll be days or weeks. And then pretty soon the slam downs won't even happen. So yes, if you're not in, you are missing a gigantic boat that is leaving the harbor. You'll be able to get in, but you're going to have to buy an airplane ticket to the next island it goes to, and it'll just be more expensive for you to get in. And at some point, when the unbacked fiat system breaks down fully, you will have to get into the cryptocurrencies and have to get into silver and gold. But until that point happens, now is a great time to get in. And as you can see, if you watch the cryptos, you can go to Coin Market Cap is where I like to look at all of them.
Yeah, that's where I go.
And don't forget to hit, when you look at all the cryptos, there's a little section on the left that says all or top 100 or the full list. If you don't hit that, you're probably just going to get the cryptocurrencies. So make sure you hit like the full list, because that'll show you the tokens as well. And the tokens are the tokens used for these businesses. And that's really exciting. I mean, if you pick the right business, you're going to pick a Google or an Amazon or a Facebook or a Goldman Sachs. I think Veritasium is the Goldman Sachs of the cryptos. So yeah, it's really, don't get scared just because the Bitcoin only people say, oh no, these tokens are crazy. Everything else is crazy except Bitcoin. Only Bitcoin. And they're starting to come off that now, because once Ethereum was introduced and used as a platform, people are understanding that tokenization of anything financial can be tokenized, and those tokens can be used kind of like barter. Really, it's more akin to barter than a currency. So within these ecosystems, like Veritasium is setting up exchanges that you got to use Veritasium to trade with. So it's not a cryptocurrency. It's a token used within the ecosystem that Veritasium is creating. Same with a lot of these tokens like Pillar and Populous and a lot of them. But there's all kinds of use cases, especially since Ethereum has been the go-to place for accessing the blockchain for these companies.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely correct, man. Absolutely correct.
As far as what I'd buy right now, I love Amigo, OMG.
Amuzigo?
Omisego, OMISEGO. It'll bank the Asian population that's unbanked. It's going to be a big one. It's in Cliff High's data, and it's going to be a monster. I always like Veritasium. Anything under $1,000, I'd buy Veritasium. And Litecoin is going to be the cash. I believe that's going to be the answer for the when the banks crash, which could happen any day. So those are just a couple, but there's a lot of good ones.
Well,
and
let me ask you this, man. This I need to have a talk with Cliff, because every single report he puts out, my cryptocurrency Plantano is not out there yet.
What's it called?
Plantano. I told you I'm tokenizing all the banana sales in the world.
Yeah. Well, you gotta go ICO first, probably for you, because you haven't hired a cryptographer, you haven't hired lawyers, you haven't hired anything. So you're gonna have to go ICO and get a bunch of money.
Banana, and they laughed at me.
I know. Yes.
And then
anybody,
Del Monte shut the door on my face.
Anybody can create a cryptocurrency. Anybody can do an ICO. The majority of the ICOs are a complete waste of money, in that most likely the companies and the things that they're promising will never actually happen.
Right.
And people need to understand that. That's why the regulators are coming in stronger about these ICOs. It's a world of no rules at all right now. So the only rule kind of from the SEC was what they came out with a report about the DAO problem, and they called it a security. But they also said we're not gonna prosecute anybody who was involved. So, and they didn't give a rule. All it said is if it looks and acts and smells like a security, that's when we're going to get involved. But they still haven't gotten involved with any of these things. And there's a lot of them that do look and act like a security. But a lot of these, the good ICO companies are getting lawyers involved, SEC lawyers, to make sure that these aren't securities that they're offering. So, you got to be careful. It is the wild, wild west. Right now, there is, let me see here. There's currently 1,128 cryptocurrencies and tokens listed on CoinMarketCap. There, according to Cliff, within the next year, there will be over 5,000. So it is booming, and
Plantano will be part of that, guys.
Okay, 5,001. 5,001.
Yep. CJ and I are working on it. Plantano.
But the crypto economy is being built right parallel to our current economy that is dying and crumbling. And everybody knows debt makes a horrible form of money, but we've been on that system for so long, it's almost impossible to get out of it unless you have somewhere else to go, and that's what the cryptos represent. So there will be more tokens. There'll be, I don't know about how many more currencies there'll be, unless they're specific for some, they're being invented for some reason. It's tough to compete as a cryptocurrency. But the tokens and the ideas behind these tokens, I mean, any industry can be, it basically sucks all the costs out of an industry, which is really exciting. And SALT tokens will be hitting the market, I think, on October 6th, around that time. And I know a lot of people want to get into SALT. No, I don't know what they will trade for on the exchanges, but I did hear all the major exchanges are going to be trading SALT, and it's going to be on, what's that one? The one that you can swap different currencies. Eric Voorhees is the guy behind that one. And Eric Voorhees is on the board of SALT. Big time company. It's going to be in the top 20 easy, probably the top 10 as far as market cap. And nothing but blue sky, because they can use anything tokenized as collateral at some point. They have to approve. Right now, I think they're just starting with Bitcoin and Ethereum, but there is no limit to what you can use to secure a loan as far as tokens. It's just limited by what SALT wants to accept as collateral, and the banks will accept as collateral, because these are collateralized loans that SALT is providing a vehicle for. And the vehicle is cool. It's got this oracle that determines, kind of takes out the volatility problem of the cryptos as a means of collateral. So I'm real excited about that one. I have been for a long time. I've been talking about it for a while. And the cool thing is that they're coming to market this year. Whereas all these other cryptos are like 2018, 2019, these companies, big plans, but, implementation is way off. And I think Vertasium's coming with the Jamaican announcement any day now, which is really exciting. And then it's just blue sky for them after that. So lots of good things happening. Lots of companies. AdX is, I think it was up like 30% today. They are already implementing their tokens into the online advertising issues and problems that they're going to be fixing. So yeah, it's exciting time for the cryptos.
It is, man. It is. That brings us to the three amigos interview that you and Cliff and J-Snip did, man.
So much fun. I mean, literally, I think that was like 2.5 hours of just bullshitting and listening to Cliff, because Cliff has so many good things to say. Right. I mean, you just listen to him, you're like, okay, that's why that's like that. That's why this makes sense. That's why this is going on.
Right.
And he's just a brilliant guy and a nice guy. And Jason Forward continues to crack me up. He's hysterical. If you aren't on his YouTube channel, you should get on it. I think he does 3 videos every morning about, he's a goofy guy and he'll tell jokes and he'll sing on occasion, which is kind of scary. But he also has a lot of good information. I am not of the camp that he is, that he pretty much goes for almost any ICO. And I look at them very differently. I look at ICOs that I want to sit on. I don't want to trade them. I don't want to swap them out. I'm trying to pick the Amazons and the Facebooks and the Googles of 2018, 2019. And I think it's a much more sane way to go than Joe's like, oh, okay, this is going to trade for, quadruple the day it hits the exchanges, and then you sell half and roll it over into this. And I'm like, that's not for me. It's too nerve-wracking. I want to pick the right companies and just sit and wait. At least that's me. And then and Cliff had a lot to say about the changing of his webbots talked a lot about weather changes, and we're clearly having cataclysmic weather changes now. And he says, look out for volcanoes and earthquakes coming up.
That means we have to pay Al Gore, otherwise we're screwed.
No. You can tokenize all this stuff and keep Al Gore out of it.
We have to tokenize Al Gore then.
We can tokenize Al Gore, yes. Yes, the climate is changing. I believe it's because the Earth is expanding. We're in a denser part of the universe, and the sun is acting very strangely. As you can tell, it is white sun now, not a yellow sun anymore. When I was a kid, I think it was even orangish yellow.
I remember those days, the good old days, Bix.
And it's bright white and completely different rays that are disturbing the inner core of planet Earth, where matter is created in the plasma of the center of the Earth. The Earth is expanding, and if you don't understand what the expanding planet model looks like, go to YouTube and do a search for expanding planet. I think the guy's name is Mike Adams, did a bunch of videos and shows how not only is Pangea, which was, if you take your geology classes, Pangea was a single continent where all the continents fit together into this one Pangea, and then the rest is water, is what we're taught, because they don't teach that the Earth is expanding. But if you take Pangea and you take away all the water, it also fits together perfectly. So yes, the Earth is expanding, is continuing to expand, and it expands in like jolts and jumps, causing earthquakes and volcanoes and crazy weather. Because as the planet gets bigger, it screws with the weather. You'll have worse storms and things like that. And that has a lot to do with all the chemtrails and spraying. And if you want to get into the conspiracy side, we've had the ability to control and steer storms since the 1930s. And, when we see strong hurricanes headed right towards Puerto Rico, we can say, well, there's something else going on here. And I find it very interesting that they're coming out with a movie, this brand new blockbuster called Geostorm. Have you heard of that?
No, what's that about? Is that another one of those day after the day before yesterday,
Yeah,
or the
yeah,
day after
and
next week or something?
yeah, I saw a trailer for it, and it's basically they said we've got satellites that have controlled the weather, and we've lost control of the satellites.
Oh, that's good. I like
Yeah.
that.
So, but it is like every day we wake up and there's something new to talk about and something crazy going on in the world. This is the craziness that Cliff had talked about for a long time. We're right in the middle of it. It'll continue. It'll continue. It'll get financially. It's going to get crazier and crazier as all these countries and municipalities run out of money that can't print money out of thin air. Puerto Rico is not allowed to print their own money. They have to use the U.S. dollar. So we'll see what happens. And I think we're on the brink. We're on the brink of something economically destructive happening because all these insurance companies are now underwater. All these banks with the mortgage-backed securities are underwater because they have all the homes that are literally underwater in Puerto Rico, in Florida, in Texas. It's huge money we're talking about, and the system is so frail right now, it can't withstand it.
Yep. Absolutely.
But they'll print more and print more and print more and give it away. So when this insanity stops, it is anybody's guess. But in the meanwhile, they are building the crypto economy right next to the current economy. So if you're still on the sidelines about this, don't be. Get in with both feet, because that is the plan by the powers that be, is to create this new system right next to the old system so we can get off this criminal old system.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I agree with you. Final and closing thoughts, Bix. Go ahead.
Go to roadtoruda.com. If you guys aren't members yet, I still have some coins left, some Ruda coins. They're the coolest coins ever. I've got nothing but thumbs up from people who got them. Go to the subscribe section at roadtoruda.com. And if you're interested in all the conspiracy stuff, go to the resources tab at roadtoruda.com on the left. It's got things about 9/11, about weather wars, about the Road to Ruda original documents from the Fed. It's got all kinds of stuff on computer manipulation of markets. So check out that tab, and it's all true. And the Grand Canyon gold, that's the other thing. Somebody sent me an article about this plane crash in the Grand Canyon that happened in 1956. It was the largest plane crash ever. In 1956, 128 people died.
Holy crap.
It was a TWA flight and a United flight crashed in midair exactly above the spot that they've shut down, and it has all the ancient Egyptian artifacts and the gold, all the gold that I've been researching, the exact spot. And so I've been doing a lot of research on that, and it's absolutely interesting. The wreckage doesn't look like wreckage. It's kind of like on 9/11. They said most of it disintegrated when the plane that flew into the ground in Pennsylvania disintegrated. Well, titanium doesn't disintegrate.
Well, it does. It can vaporize into powder, like we saw in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, when that plane went into the ground.
Oh, supposedly. I know. But what I think this is, I think it was a false flag operation in 1956, and the reason they did it is they had to. I think it was like 60 or 70 huge helicopter lifts came out of the Grand Canyon from that exact spot. And it might have been gold. It might have been some of the artifacts that are all over the Grand Canyon. Egyptian, not Egyptian. They're some civilization before the Egyptians. But there's pyramids all over the Grand Canyon, obelisks everywhere. So really interesting stuff I've been diving into. But the cover story is this plane crash that you think about the odds of two jetliners colliding in midair today. Yes, we have radar today, but back then I think there was 100 and something big jumbo jets in the United States, and no, they're not going to collide in midair over the Grand Canyon. And one completely went off its course, is what the official story is. And they took off from the same airport. It's just crazy, the false flag stuff that has gone on in the past that we are just learning about now. So exciting stuff. Hopefully I'll have a report on the Grand Canyon Gold coming out this year. That's my plan.
That's awesome. With that being said, Bix, we're at the end of the broadcast. Time flies when you're having fun. Um, and folks, subscribe to Bix's service, man. It's a cool service, and he always gives you a little gift for joining.
That's right.
With that being said, we're over and out. CJ, take it away, brother.